morning, children. How are you? Are you all fine? Okay. Hope your studies are going well. Okay. We have learned the first few passages from the lesson A Day in the Country by Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. We will be continuing the lesson. Okay. Do you all remember what all things we have learned? What was our author's name? Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. Okay. A chapter's name? A Day in the Country. What's the unit's name? Flowers and Showers. Okay, very good. Okay, now let's begin the class. Before that, any of you can you please narrate the story? Okay, children, I will show you a collage. You can identify the events or the incidents happened in the last few passages and you can narrate it easily. I'll show it. You please take a look. Children, now you please observe this picture carefully. These pictures depicts different incident that occurs in the short story. You observe it carefully and now we can easily narrate the story. Okay children, now one of your friends will narrate the story. Let's see the video.
All those pictures give us an idea of what we have learned in the last class. All the incidents happened in the countryside. There was heavy thunder and lightning, and a little girl named Fiocla searching for Terenty, the old cobbler. Terenty and Fiocla now ran through the rain because Fiocla's brother met with an accident. His hand was stuck in the hole of a tree and nobody was there in the woods to help them.
Okay children, now we have discussed what all things happened in the last class, what all things we have discussed in the last class, and now we will be moving to the rest of the portions. So who all are the major characters? The little girl Fiocla, then cobbler Terenty, then one more character, who is that? Danilka, who has met with an accident and Fiocla and Terenty is running to help him. Is it? Okay. Now all of you please take your course book. Page number 160. Children, now let us read the chapter. We shall get socked, Fiocla mutters Terenty. There won't be a dry spot left on us. Ho ho, my girl. It's run down my neck. But don't be frightened, silly. The grass will be dry again. The earth will be dry again. And we shall be dry again. There is the same sun for us all. A flash of lightning, some 14 feet long, gleams above their head. There is a loud peal of thunder, and it seems to Fiocla that something big, heavy, and round is rolling off the sky and tearing it open exactly over her head. Holy, 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 says Terenty. Don't be afraid, little girl. It is not from spite that it thunders. Terenty's and Fiocla's feet are covered with lumps of heavy, wet clay. It is slippery and difficult to walk. But Terenty strides on more and more rapidly. The weak little girl is breathless and ready to drop. But at last they go into the Count's copse. The washed trees, stirred by a gust of wind, drop a perfect waterfall upon them. Terenty stumbles over stumps and begins to slacken his pace. Where about is Danilka? He asks. Lead me to him. Fiocla leads him into a thicket, and after going a quarter of a mile, points to Danilka. Her brother, a little fellow of 8, with hair as red as ochre and a pale, sickly face, stands leaning against a tree and with his head on one side, looking sideways at the sky. In one hand, he holds his shabby old cap. The other is hidden in an old lime tree. The boy is gazing at the stormy sky and apparently not thinking of his trouble. Hearing footsteps and seeing the cobbler, he gives a sickly smile and says, "A terrible lot of thunder, Tandy. I had never heard so much thunder in all my life. And where is your hand?" "In the hall. Pull it out, please, Tandy." The wood had broken at the edge of the hole and jammed Dalka's hand. He could push it farther in, but could not pull it out. Tandy snaps off the broken piece, and the boy's hand, red and crushed, is released. "It is terrible. How's thundering?" the boy says again, rubbing his hand. "What makes it thunder, Tandy?" "One cloud runs against the other," answers the cobbler. The party come out of the copse and walk along the edge it towards the darkened road. The thunder gradually abates and its rumbling is heard far away beyond the village. "The ducks flew by here the other day," Tandy says, Danka still rubbing his hand. "Faikla, would you like me to show you a nightingale's nest?" "Don't touch it, you might disturb them," says Tandy, wringing the water out of his cap. The nightingale is a singing bird. He has had a voice given him in his throat to gladden the heart of man. It's a sin to disturb him. A bright patch of blue appears in the sky. "And here are some bees," cries Danilka, pointing to the branch of a young oak tree. The drenched and chill bees are huddled together on the branch. There are so many of them that neither bark nor leaf can be seen. Many of them are settled on one another. "That's a swarm of bees," Tandy informs them. They were flying looking for a home, and when the rain came down upon them, they settled. If a swarm is upon them, flying you need only sprinkle water on them to make them settle. Now, if, say, you wanted to take the swarm, you would bend the branch with them into a sack and shake it, and they all fall in. Little Faikla suddenly frowns and rubs her neck vigorously. Her brother looks at her neck and sees a big swelling on it. "Hey, hey," laughs the cobbler. "Do you know where you got that from, Faikla, old girl? There are Spanish flies on some trees in the wood. The rain has trickled off them, and a drop has fallen on your neck. That's what has made the swelling." The sun appears from behind the clouds and floods the wood, the fields, the tree fronts with its warm light. The dark menacing cloud has gone far away and taken the storm with it. The air is warm and fragrant. Okay, children, have you read the lesson? Now let's discuss the tough words, okay, difficult words. Have you noted down difficult words? Okay, let's discuss the difficult words. Okay, children, now let us discuss the vocabulary from this chapter. Okay, shall we start? First word, spite. Spite means hatred. Stumbles. Stumbles means falls. Then slacken. Slacken means reduce. Then fourth one, thicket. Thicket here means a dense growth of shrubs. Next one, abates. Abates means decrease. Ringing. Ringing means squeezing. Swarm of bees. That means group of bees. Okay, so the words are spite, which means hatred, Stumbles means falls. Slacken means reduce. Thicket, a dense growth of shrubs. Abates, decrease. Ringing, squeezing. Swarm of bees means group of bees. Is it okay for you? Okay, children. Now, may I ask you some questions? Are you ready? Okay. Okay, children. Now, let me ask you some questions. First question. How did Faikla feel when she heard the thunder? How did Faikla feel when she heard the thunder? And the answer is Faikla felt that something big, heavy, and round is rolling over the sky and tearing it open exactly over her head. So, what is the answer? Faikla felt that something big, heavy, and round is rolling over the sky and tearing it open exactly over her head. Now, let's move on to the next question. How does the author describe Danilka? So, how does the author describe Danilka? That is the second question. What is the answer? A little fellow of 8 with hair as red as ochre and a pale sickly face. A little fellow of 8 with hair as red as ochre and a pale sickly face. This is a description given by the author regarding Danilka. Now, can we move on to the third question? Okay. How is the cloud after the rain? How is the cloud after the rain? The dark menacing cloud has gone far away and taken the storm with it. The air is warm and fragrant. So, now there is no dark cloud. The dark menacing cloud has gone far away and taken the storm with it. And the air is warm and fragrant. Now the next question. Why does Dandy ask Danilka not to touch the nightingale's nest? Why does Dandy ask Danilka not to touch the nightingale's nest? What is the answer? Dandy asked Danilka not to touch nightingale's nest because nightingale is a singing bird. He has had given him in his throat to gladden the heart of man. It is sin to disturb him. So, what is the reason given by Taranti? Because the nightingale is a singing bird and God has given him his throat to gladden the heart of man, and it is a sin to disturb him. So, is it clear, children? Okay, children. Now I will give you a short summary. So, where do we have stopped last day? Until where the Faikla is running through the rain and she is very much afraid. Now, the road is wet and clay and slippery, but Taranti and Faikla is not ready to stop. Why they are not ready to stop? Because they want to help Danilka to take out his hand from the hole of a tree. Okay. Now Faikla says that we shall get soaked, uncle. Why? Because it is heavily raining. But Taranti is not ready to stop anywhere because he wants to help that little kid. Why? Because his hand is stuck in the hole of a big tree. And Taranti, who is very kind to this young children, he is running for helping Danilka. And on the way, the rod is full of clay, and it is difficult for them to walk through that rod. Anyhow, they managed to walk through the road, and both of them were exhausted, but somehow they managed to reach that woods. And there, Danilka is standing with his hand inside that hole. Okay, finds Danilka. But Danilka is not looking upon the hand. He is listening to the thunder, the rain, and all the aspects in the nature. Okay, and then, and now the author gives us a description about Danilka. Danilka is a little boy of 8 years old. What about the age of Faikla? Faikla is only 6 years old, and Danilka is 8 years old, and his head is red and his face is pale because he is afraid of thunder and the heavy rain. And also he has met with an accident. His hand is inside the hole. But Danilka is focusing upon the nature and the aspects in the nature, the incidents happening around him. But Taranti and Faikla is afraid of his hand because his hand is inside the hole of that big tree. How it happened? He tried to take the egg of the cuckoo. Now Danilka begins to ask some questions to Taranti. What is the first question? His first question is how the thunder occurs. And how did Taranti answer the question? Taranti says that one cloud runs against the other. That's how the thunder occurs. And then again he asked many questions. He had witnessed many incidents while he was in the wood. And he has seen the heavy rain, the thunder, the lightning, and he was very much curious to know about all these things. What are things happening in the nature and how it occurs? He is very much curious and he is asking many questions to Taranti. Danilka is sure that Taranti will know everything about all these incidents happening in the nature, and he asks all these questions to Taranti. Now the sky has become blue. It means that the rain is over, and three of them are walking through the wood, and Danilka cries out that something more interesting is there. What's that? Bees. Now the boy has begun to talk about what? About the bees, and a group of bees is there. Okay, a group of bees, and he can't even see the bark and leaves of the tree because such a number of bees are together there. And Taranti says that that is a swarm of bees. What is that? A swarm of bees, which means a group of bees. And he says that if there are so many bees flying, then we can settle them by pouring or simply sprinkling some water upon it. So as the rain began, they all settled together, and that's why we can see the bark and leaves of the trees, because there are huge number of bees are together, and that is called the swarm of bees. Now little Faikla frowns and rubs her neck, and she finds that there is a swelling on her neck. That is because of the Spanish flies. Who gives them that information? Taranti. Taranti says that it is because of the Spanish flies her neck becomes swollen. But there is no problem in that. Taranti just laughs and says there is no problem in that. Just because of the Spanish flies. And now three of them are walking. There is no rain. The sun appears and the climate is pleasant now. Before that, it was not so pleasant. It was heavily raining, right? Now it is very pleasant. The sun appears and the sky is blue, and three of them are walking. So the remaining portions we will study in the next class. Is it okay, children? Okay, children. Now you have an activity to do as a homework. The activity is you have to find the name of the poems with the theme nature. The theme should be nature. and hope you all understood. Do you have any doubts?